What's going on, Godzilla fans? UnrealEntGaming here today, bringing you some news, information, updates, and predictions surrounding the sequel for the 2014 Godzilla movie. Now, of course, there have been many people out there that have been speculating on what exactly Gareth Edwards is going to do with the Godzilla trilogy that he is set to make. Now, of course, there will be a trilogy. Everybody already knows that. Now, a lot of people have been talking about Anguirus, Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, and stuff like that. Now, of course, there is also another possibility that they might introduce Biollante or any of those characters like Destroyer and whatnot. Now, honestly, guys, I do believe that the story for the next movie, and like I said, this is only my thoughts, my opinion, and my prediction for the next story, but I think something that would make a lot of sense is to have the upcoming sequel have a sort of like a monstrous point of view through Godzilla, because through the entire Godzilla 2014 film, we saw only one perspective, and that was, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character as he was running around trying to figure out what the hell to do, of course. Now, I think for the sequel, what they ought to do is have a public argument, sort of say, to discuss whether Godzilla is a good thing for the nation and for the cities upon the world, or if it's a bad thing, of course, you know, whether they want to destroy him using new technology such as the oxygen destroyer and whatnot. Now, what I also feel like they ought to do in the movie that I think would be pretty cool is if they want to stick with the Muto, you know, title, they could have Dr. Serizawa reintroduced in the film, and perhaps maybe if another monster comes about, let's say, for example, Rodan, they could have a Muto Rodan, you know, like similar features to the actual Muto's creatures that we saw in the 2014 film, except Rodan would also carry those similar features, you know, having a bit of originality, but at the same time, you know, paying homage to the original Toho monsters. Now, of course, that's only if they decide to just go down that route. There were many, you know, fan-made pictures and fan-made designs of, you know, Muto Rodan, Muto Mothra, and stuff like that. And it looks pretty cool. Now, although, you know, there are many speculations on what they can do. They can introduce Biollante, have this genetically modified creature that they pretty much used Godzilla's DNA off of to just create and replicate this unknown enemy to face Godzilla, just in case he ever, you know, reemerges on the surface again, of course. Now, what I think they ought to utilize, especially if they're going to have a basis around nuclear energy, is I think they ought to really focus more on, you know, nuclear vicinities such as Chernobyl. If they're going to have, you know, Godzilla pretty much sense and know about this nuclear energy that's on the surface, why not pay homage and just revisit Chernobyl and have a battle per there, perhaps, you know? They have yet to showcase the giant centipede monster. Many of you guys may have forgotten about that already, but in the original Godzilla 2014 trailer, teaser, should I say, they featured this giant multi-armed centipede-like creature that was dead, and it looked dead, perhaps, maybe. Why not have that be reintroduced? You know, have like this giant centipede-like creature laying eggs throughout, you know, various cities in the world, of course. Now, I think for the second film, they ought to do a story where there are very large earthquakes, you know, being caused all around the world, and then suddenly it just kind of, you know, catches on to Serizawa. Serizawa's like, wait a minute. He notices, and as he's studying Godzilla, he's noticing that Godzilla is very distressed, very under pressure. He doesn't understand why. Being an ancient creature, Serizawa is trying to figure out why Godzilla is under so much distress. Why is he moving all across the world so frequently? I mean, even though Godzilla is known for just dwelling underneath the oceans at various depths that just contain very high pressure, Serizawa notices that Godzilla is always on the move, and Godzilla seems like, as an animal, he seems very distressed and whatnot. So he figures out that there are other creatures out there, perhaps classified as Mutos, but they don't have to be classified as Mutos. But if the government wants to go down that route, they can classify Muto creatures like a centipede-like creature, or maybe perhaps have Rodan or any of those, you know, Biollante or Destroyer or whatever. You know, since they're going about a trilogy, I guess you could say, they ought to pay homage and introduce one creature, of course. Also, along with having Godzilla reemerge and surface in the city of Tokyo, perhaps. Maybe there they could have their first encounter with the monster that, you know, Godzilla fights and whatnot. So a lot of people have been talking about the action, of course. Now, There was, several things that bothered me about Godzilla 2014. Number one was the teases and the fights in the beginning. There were various different teases, and I enjoyed it, but it didn't really satisfy me because after watching Pacific Rim's fights, I was expecting a little bit more action, but still, we got the overall package in the end, of course, when Godzilla fought both of them. It was a 2-on-1, by the way, but either way, they told a very original execution of the two Mutos creatures. Now, for the next film, guys, we don't know an official release date because Gareth Edwards is working on a Star Wars spin-off, of course, so he's going to be focusing more on that than anything else. Now, of course, we don't even know if Gareth is going to be the official director. Of course, a lot of people are speculating that he is, and I'm pretty sure he will be, but there's a lot of rumor going around that he may not do it, of course. Now, I know that that might be a little faulty because he even said it himself that he's going to be working on it, but nonetheless, it kind of just, opens up various doors and questions like, hey, well, if Gareth Edwards weren't to do Star Wars, wouldn't the movie come out sooner? Absolutely. If Gareth Edwards didn't do the Star Wars spinoff, we would have had a Godzilla movie in 2016, bottom line. You know what I mean? That's without question. I mean, they probably would have started right now, so for me, I can see this as a giant opportunity for the Godzilla community because Godzilla did such a great job in the box office and whatnot. And although many people disregarded Godzilla saying, oh, well, it was a wannabe Pacific Rim film, it still embodied what it needed to do, I feel like in the next movie, Godzilla ought to engage and embark on various different things and have the story actually, surround him for once, have it to where we see Godzilla just acting abnormal sometimes, or probably just, trying to figure out, like, why is Godzilla going to Tokyo and then New York? Why is he going place to place for? Like, what the hell's going on? And that could be because maybe he's hunting an enemy, because remember, Godzilla is a predator. He's not prey. He's a predator. He hunts other animals, like he hunts other creatures. He's an ancient dinosaur in a sense, you know what I mean? So, all Godzilla wants are, monsters to be dead. He doesn't care about buildings being destroyed. He doesn't care about humans being, killed. He doesn't care about the military. Although, I ought to think that they ought to engage Godzilla more in a military strategy more. Godzilla doesn't really care about that. Godzilla cares about bigger and better things. Now, in terms of the centipede monster, I ought to think that they ought to do that. And if the centipede monster does decide to lay eggs, I think one of the eggs later on down the road in the third film should turn out to be Destroyer or whatnot. Like, that'd be pretty cool if, like, one of the eggs happened to be, one of the, Toho original monsters, and then when Destroyer actually arrives, they can actually start using the Oxygen Destroyer and whatnot, on Godzilla and Destroyer and stuff like that. I mean, the possibilities are just endless right now, but the bottom line is the fact that there will be a trilogy. Everybody already knows that, but how exactly are they going to plan on going with the story? In my personal opinion, I ought to introduce Destroyer, Ghidorah, perhaps maybe some other things. If they don't want to use Toho original monsters, they can always just transform them and just give them the original look of having to look similar to a Muto, you know what I mean? I think that right there would be very, very unique to see. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below surrounding the next Godzilla film. Do you guys think it's a good idea, a bad idea? How exactly would you guys follow up with the next Godzilla film having to introduce new monsters? What would your story be? I want to know what your story would be if you guys were to make your own Godzilla film. And once again, everybody, thank you all for watching. My name is UnrealEntGaming. If you guys are Godzilla fans, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for all the latest Godzilla news, information, and updates. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit it up with a like and a favorite. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear that. So thank you all for watching, everybody. Once again, more to come. I really hope that the next Godzilla film delivers, because this one already did for me, but in essence, I do think it could do a lot better. So thank you all for watching, everybody. Once again, stay tuned for more, and I'll be seeing you all later, everybody. God bless. Peace.